So just a little bit about the format, what we'll be discussing. We'll be going into the problems that we're solving and why we believe cultural competency is so important. We'll be touching on who CulturaGo is serving. We'll be exploring our Introduction to Japanese Culture course as well as Cultura skills. We'll be touching on partner use cases so you can get a sense of how we partner with different institutions or companies. A little bit on customization, and then a Q&A. We really welcome questions in the chat, or at the end we can unmute. It's a nice small intimate group, so we really do welcome your feedback or your questions. So on that note, Marcello, over to you.
Thank you, Liam, and hello to everybody. My name is Marcello, and I'm the head of education at CulturaGo. For this first slide, I would like to give you a little bit of an overview of what we do here at CulturaGo, and we'll do that by providing a bit of an overview of the problems we've been observing, especially with study abroad providers and institutions, and what the solutions that we are offering. The main problem that we have been encountering with studying international students is a lack of cultural adaptation and the negative impacts of such lack of cultural adaptation. We have seen that when students go abroad and they're not used to a new cultural environment, they don't know how to behave, they don't know how people communicate, that really has a big impact on their experience, but not just on their personal experience. It also has an impact on their academic performance because collaborating becomes a bit more complicated. And sometimes where there's a lot of misunderstandings, there might be even cases of premature departure for students. So this emotionally, of course, for the students is a lot, but also for universities and providers, that is also a big problem because it has a negative impact on the overall success of their study abroad programs. And also it presents quite serious challenges on pre-departure and arrival in terms of not only economics, but also the amount of work that these offices are required to do to compensate for these departures. So our solution is culture preparation. So we want our learners to have a basic understanding of what the culture in their destination country will be like, so that they know what to expect. There are a lot of benefits to culture preparations, and some of them are as follows, I would say. So we do see an improved cultural awareness and cultural intelligence, which is the ability to collaborate and communicate effectively across differences of culture and identity. We'd see a lessened impact of cultural adaptation stress, which also translate in a reduction of student melt and dropout, which for universities, this is very good news. We also see for students improved levels of motivation, better academic performance, and overall improved well-being and mental health. And also by being culturally prepared and culturally tuned to another cultural environment, students develop very easily transferable soft skills that are that will help them with their postgraduate employability.
Thanks, Marcello. We're now going to briefly touch a little bit on who CulturaGo is serving. On the right, we've got some personas that we created early on when we were developing the courses that we've adapted over time. And on the left, we've got some examples of students and their feedback that sort of match these personas. So I think we can probably all identify with some of these on the right. So culture enthusiasts, underserved students looking for guidance, the A+ students, the nervous Nellies, or just the everyday student who wants to have fun. So there's, of course, like a very diverse range of students or learners that we're catering to. But given how diverse our courses in nature, we feel like we're able to tap into the needs of those various students. So for Joseph, who's a Japanese studies and anthropology student, the ability to dive deeper into Japanese studies prior to a study abroad experience was fantastic for him, and really appreciated the ability to really take full advantage of the trip. For someone like Holly and Holly's sister Alyssa, who were quite concerned about how their identity might be perceived in Japan, their levels of anxiety were reduced, and they felt like they had something really useful to turn to in preparation for their time abroad in Japan. We have Colin, a business student who headed to Spain. Colin came from Warrington College of Business, University of Florida. And for someone like Colin, who's a real go-getter, very ambitious, wanting to enter the workforce with the best foot forward, our course allowed a unique addition to Colin's resume or CV, as well as the ability to take full advantage of the study abroad experience that Colin went on. Just a few quick facts to maybe sort of tie in some of the points that Marcello was mentioning earlier. On the left, we see that close to 90%, I should read underserved. Eric, Eagle Eye, thank you very much for that. We'll definitely fix that. Appreciate it. Nearly 90% of bad hires are said to lack soft skills. It's a very high percentage. And at the same time, we're seeing, although the surveys from 2022 or the results from 2022, 61% of K-12 parents agreed that COVID had a negative impact on their students, on their children rather. And these individuals are now, of course, entering universities and soon the workforce. So on the one hand, you've got this need for soft skill development. And of course, abroad experiences are fantastic for that. But on the other hand, you've got perhaps a slightly more sensitive group of students who may struggle a little bit to develop those soft skills. So we're pleased to share that 98% of our learners recommend our courses, those that go all the way through to complete them, whom we survey. It's a very high net promoter score that we're proud of, and we're really pleased that we're able to fill this gap and support students in this way. Very briefly, our solutions, the suite of digital courses or products that we have. Our hallmark courses are our destination-specific courses, which we started creating. We then developed and integrated a community platform, which allows students to engage with one another, as well as complete activities associated with our courses. Marcello is going to go into Cultura Skills quite soon, which is our non-destination-specific inter-identity and intercultural competency course. And then we also have the ability to customize our courses based on our partners' needs. So we'll have a quick section at the end about how our customization works. At this point, we're now going to have a look at our Japan course. And I'm going to briefly give you a quick insight into what our partners receive so you can see the whole flow from the beginning. This is an example of a content pack for George Mason University. All the links that the students can click on to enroll are here, so they'll receive those from the faculty. We also provide templatized emails which can be adapted that are used to send to the students, along with nice nudge emails reminding them to enroll. And then from a student perspective, there's either a co-branded or a non-co-branded landing page where they can enroll, provide us with a little bit of information, and given that GMU has paid for the courses, there's no fee for the student. Then at this point, for technical reasons, I'm going to switch I'm going to screen share a particular tab so the volume comes in. Right, so here we are. We're now on the Introduction to Japanese Culture landing page. This is what the portal looks like. And I'll start by just giving you a quick overview of the various sections. Like any course, there's a welcome, in which case, and here you'll meet Erica, the course guide, as well as learn about the outlines and objectives. Module 1 is Japan at a glance, or Italy at a glance, for example, where we look at various facets of society or culture which we deem to be important to learn about from an introductory perspective. So things like family dynamics, communication style, the role of religion or politics in society, things like work ethic for Japan, which are, of course, very important to understand. We then move into Module 2, which is Regions of Japan, where we look at the various regions and the cultural nuances within each. We also unpack transportation, give some practical advice on getting around. We use this module for that. And then importantly, we look at how life may differ in metropolitan versus rural Japan. Next up is Module 3, Japanese Customs and Etiquette. And almost every time, this is our most popular module. It's very practical in nature, a lot of do's and don'ts, what you can and can't do in public, dining etiquette, drinking etiquette if it's relevant to the student or our learner, a bit on the educational environment, and so on. Then Module 4 is adjusting to life, and this is all about reducing cultural adaptation stress. through learning about experiences of the stages of culture shock of other individuals who've traveled to Japan for various reasons. Module 5 is experiencing Japan like a local, and this is the closest to what we are to a tourist guide, which we definitely want to avoid being seen as, but we do feel it's important to share some ideas around things that one can do that local individuals in Japan are doing, sort of to inspire one to get out and to really engage. So that's a really nice, fun section. And then last but definitely not least, all of our courses have an identities, diversity, and inclusion module. And this looks at how one's identity might be received based on one's gender, race, and ethnicity, or one's sexuality. And this is a very robust module. And of course, then there's a course wrap-up. So at this point, I will head over to the welcome, just to give you a quick view into a note from Erica welcoming us.
Welcome. This is Introduction to Japanese Culture. My name is Erica. I will be your guide for this course. I wanted to start off by teaching you a greeting that is equivalent in English to nice to meet you. It is hajimemashite. Let me break that down for you. It's pronounced ha-ji-me-ma-shite. We want to help you learn more about Japan and its culture so that you feel more confident once you're there and so that you can just focus on experiencing the Japanese culture. We want you to make the most of your time there and make meaningful and lasting connections. You will learn about a vast range of topics from dining etiquette to geography, from greeting to dating. The modules are designed to give you.
So once the learners had a welcome from Erica, who features throughout the course introducing each module, they can then head over to module 1, which we'll do, understanding the Japanese perspective. And I'll use this as an opportunity, this section here, just to sort of give you an overview of the various types of content that we've included to cater for different learning styles. So we do our best to sort of have a combination of very visually rich key sections that are highlighted, nice sort of text bubbles indicating an opinion coming through from an individual. We've got lots of contributions, both from locals and expats in video form, which we'll share some soon. Did you knows and key tips, of course, imagery. And this is quite a long section. Most of these sections are a little bit more snappy than this, but I'll just sort of head to the bottom here to also show you how we've got a comments section, which is growing in different areas of individuals passing on their opinion of what's being said or potentially validating the content, sparking some interesting discussion in some ways, which we really love to see. And I'm now going to head to one of the videos just to hear a little bit from Dolce, who talks about how important being on time is.
Being on time is like super important to Japanese people, but they don't mean on time. They mean they want you there earlier. It's something that is expected of you to be on time, and that means to actually be ready even before that. The general rule is like 15 minutes if you want to be super nice about it.
So a nice light interview to start with, talking about how important that is, and really great advice there. Moving on to module 3, I want to touch on a section in public. So as mentioned earlier, this is a very practical module, a lot of do's and don'ts. This covers sort of etiquette in public, in the office environments, in the school environment. And the one interview that I wanted to highlight was a little bit about elevator etiquette and a bit more. And this is applicable to both a business sense, but also I think from a university perspective.
There's a lot of Japanese business etiquettes that you have to know, such as how to receive a business card and how to give business card, and how to bow, and how to use elevator. So in Japan, there's a hierarchy of within the company, and always the lowest in the hierarchy needs to operate the elevator. And in elevator, there's a standing position that I was taught. The lowest people are always standing next to the bottoms, and the most highest people stand at the back of the elevator.
So it'd be a great way to surprise an individual knowing how to act in an elevator, I'd imagine. So another really good idea of a practical tip, which is not necessarily something one would often pick up otherwise. We're now going to head across to our final module, Identities, Diversity and Inclusion in Japan. And here I'm going to highlight a section relating to women in the workplace. In this section, Kenzie features a few times, initially reflecting on her personal experience working as a woman in Japan, and then a little bit of advice and wisdom, being someone who's worked there for a number of years.
My advice to women who are coming to Japan and working in Japan is there's this beautiful thing you're doing, which is living abroad and living in a different country. But there's another thing you're doing is you're meeting it in the middle. You're in Japan to learn as much as you can, to enjoy the culture, to absorb what it has to offer. But you, in your presence, is also here to offer something. So my advice is to learn from whatever the working style is, adapt to whatever the environment is, but also bring an element where you express how you feel.
So Kenzie then goes on to sort of offer words of advice around not being shy to indicate if one's feeling uncomfortable, and gives really good advice around how to do that in a very sensitive way. Some lovely wisdom coming from Kenzie there. Right, and I think at that point, I'm going to pass it back over to Marcello, who can run through culture skills.
Thank you, Liam. So let me share my screen. Here we are. Let me share here my screen, and let me introduce you to Cultural Skills, which is CulturaGo's first intercultural and interidentity competency course. This course has truly been a labor of love for our team. We had a dream for Cultural Skills that was quite simple. We wanted to create a practical toolkit to help anyone develop their ability to connect and collaborate with people across cultures and identities. Cultural Skills to us is the perfect tool for anyone who's about to embark on a journey in the realm of intercultural and interidentity communication. And this includes inbound and outbound international students, global interns, English teachers abroad, staff members who are seeking some personal and professional development, and generally curious individuals. And as part as the CulturaGo family, Cultural Skills perfectly complements our existing courses. You can either take Cultural Skills as a foundational module before our country-specific courses, or you can take it on its own whenever a country-specific course does not exist yet. And Cultural Skills, as I said, is a very compact resource, and it's made up of only 6 lessons. It can be completed in 1.5 hours, so that's a good point. Each lesson introduces a learning principle that covers a different trend in the field of intercultural communication studies. And at the same time, it supports the development of highly transferable soft skills for career readiness and postgraduate employability. So let's have a look at the lessons and the learning principle. Let's start from Stay Curious. This lesson's aim is to introduce learners to the transformative power of curiosity as an intentional act. And help them develop an inquisitive attitude towards others. By staying curious, we soon realize that learning comes with a bit of fumbling and a general discomfort. And in that sense, the lesson Honor Mistakes was designed to highlight the learning power of mistakes so that learners can hone in their sense of personal and social accountability. A great way then to reconcile our mistakes with our growth is shown in Connect with Yourself. Challenging times can shake us to the core, and we need to make sure that we are able to lean on the inside, manage our emotions, and find that balance again. Once we do that, we can appreciate that what makes us different and unique is a powerful asset, and it should be celebrated. By developing awareness for diversity, learners are able to understand what celebrating identities as a lesson means, which means celebrating challenges, connections, and the sense of belonging. And then what better way then to celebrate others than by practicing open and respectful communication, connect with others. This lesson provides tools to better tune into different styles of communication and understand, for example, what listening to learn means as opposed to listening to respond. So if we put all of these skills together, we are able to embrace worldviews. What that means is we are able then to manage conflict by exercising our ability to take the perspective of someone else in. And I would like to jump into our course. So here we can see the library. You can see all of your courses lined up. So here's Cultural Skills. Let's dive in. This is the landing page for Cultural Skills. This page works as a progress page, so you can see all the elements that make up the Cultural Skills course, and you can see which one you've done. Once you complete them, a check mark will appear. And here it says how many lessons have been completed. Three things I would like to highlight from this page is on the right-hand side, we have an Explore lesson. So this is a direct link to the Explore page. Then below that, we have a direct link to the CulturaGo community platform. At the top, we have a button that is called Start Course. And once you start the course, then it changes into Resume Course. So every time you stop for some reason, because of your schedule, of your availability in time, you can pick up from where you left off. So you can just follow your own schedule. Let us have a look at the Explore page. I really like this page because of, well, the light design is really nice. Each tile represents a different section of the course. So you can see all the little bits that make up the course. We have a welcome section. We have our 6 lessons with the learning principles. Then we have a letter to yourself, which is an activity we'll have a look at in a minute. We have some extra resources to explore more. And then what's next is the closing one, where the learners can get their certificate. By clicking on the welcome, we'll see here at the top, we have an instructional video very similar to the one that we showed for Japan from our course guide here, Stefan. And right beneath that, we have something very important, which is our pre-course survey. There are 2 surveys for Cultural Skills, one before we start and one at the end of the course. By comparing the results of the 2 surveys, we can track and assess the change in attitudes from our learners. So this is a very important bit. Let me show you then one of the lessons. And let's start with Stay Curious. Stay Curious is about developing that curious, inquisitive attitude that allows us to be open to new experiences. And I wanted to talk about how we got to create this lesson and all of the other lessons for Cultural Skills. We followed the principle of microlearning, which means that we took a lot of information and knowledge and we packaged it in bite-sized units that were very easily digestible. That way, we're sure that all the information is delivered successfully. We do this by mixing different types of media to create a variety, but also to accommodate different learning styles. We use concise text. We use a lot of interviews, similarly to all of others. Excuse me. Similarly to all of our others CulturaGo courses, because we want to bring in as many perspectives as possible to allow for a variety of opinions for learners. We have fun facts to pique our learners' attention and interest. We have lots and lots of practical tips because, as I said, this is a very practical toolkit. So we want learners to be able to take whatever they find here and easily apply it in their own daily life. We have beautiful images. We have infographics as well. And at the end of each lesson, we have a designated activity that can be completed on the CulturaGo community platform by clicking on the link here. And once you finish, you just mark complete. There's a suggestion for a next lesson. And here as well, we can see there is a comment section where the learners can share whatever they feel like sharing, basically. Similarly to earlier, I would like to share one of the interviews. And this comes from the lesson Connect with Yourself, where we provide self-grounding tips and strategies for learners so that they can manage times of emotional turmoil while they're dealing with different cultures. And I would like to share the video from Joseph, who we have seen earlier on in our user profile. And this is his advice.
So my typical grounding techniques to make me sort of not panic so much and become more relieved of stress is that I often carry with me when traveling a journal to write in. And sometimes I read back on my previous entries and think about what other people wrote, or I look back and see the memories that I had before during my semester or during my term abroad. But then I also write sort of affirmations, or I write that I will be okay, or that I write just what I feel at the present moment. Don't necessarily always negate your feelings. Write about your feelings and express it however you want. I also do collage and add stickers and do all kinds of stuff in my journal. So that helps me very much studying abroad.
So this is an idea of the kind of very practical information and strategies that our learners, our contributors are offering to all of our learners. So I'll just go back here to the Explore page, and I would like to show you the letter to yourself. This is the final activity that we have put here in a special place in the course. And what it entails is that, let me just click and we can see how it looks on the community section. This is what it looks like once you click through the community platform. And what we do is we provide a link for students to upload a letter to themselves. So the students will write a letter to their future self where they basically create a learning contract with themselves about the way they envision using the knowledge that they've acquired throughout the course. And they will just send it to our server. And in 4 or 5 months' time, we'll send the letter back to them so that they have a chance, an opportunity to see for themselves how they've grown compared to the kind of goals they had set for themselves. So this is a very, very nice initiative that we got from our other course guide, Ebony Ellis. So with that, I think that the exploration of cultural skills is over. So back to you, Liam.
Great stuff. Thank you, Marcello. I'll go and share my screen now. Let's see. I think I should be back up and running. So at this point, I've noticed we've only got 10 more minutes, so I'll go through these fairly quickly in case there's any questions at the end. First up, just wanted to run through partner use cases, so some examples of how our partners use our courses. I've got 4 examples here. Starting from the top with George Mason University, they're part of our premium tier where one gets the largest discounts based on a volume of purchasing. And for George Mason, they make our courses available to all study abroaders. So anybody who enrolls in a study abroad program gets accepted will receive an email to indicate that they're welcome to sign up if they like. This allows for equitable access across the board for anyone. For George Mason, it's a non-compulsory addition. So this is something at the student's discretion. Whereas Warrington College of Business at the University of Florida, Jason Ward leads a faculty-led program to career every year, and the course is actually brought into Jason's classroom, and week by week leading up to departure, modules are discussed and there's engagement, and it's compulsory for the students to complete the course, and if they don't, they aren't getting the academic credit linked to the overall program that they're taking part in, so it's a bit more of a sort of deeper integration. Then Miami University are on a standard tier partnership where students can self-select and purchase themselves at a discounted rate based on the relationship with Miami University, referring them to us. So this allows for enhanced support services to students to opt in and pay. Unfortunately, this isn't equitable and available to everyone, depending on students' financial means. And students purchase either via co-branded page or a CulturaGo website page. Then lastly, I don't think actually we have any private companies on the call. I may be mistaken, but for private organizations or private companies like International TEFL Academy, a leading provider in online TEFL training, we provided a new revenue stream for them to be able to sell CulturaGo's courses to their teachers. They collect payments and then also help improve teacher satisfaction abroad, which feeds into their ability to get better reviews and more customers. So that's a big motivation for their involvement. Next up, a little bit about customization. Everything you've seen now, the courses, the community platform, we're able to customize according to the needs of our partners. And this can vary, of course, in many ways. So the idea is to do a focus group where we really look at the key learning outcomes you're looking for. We align on those and decide whether we need custom modules, additional interviews, custom activities or workshops, perhaps, live sessions, or perhaps you're looking for something entirely new and bespoke. We're busy working on something to that effect for a partner who's unfortunately not on the call today, but really looking forward to releasing that at the end of the year. And of course, there's an opportunity to feature your branding. So if you're looking for a product to increase retention of international students, you can feature your branding throughout and ensure that there are those touch points. Then before we open for questions, we just wanted to share the village that it takes to create these courses, and just to say big thanks to everyone on this page, including Dr. Rumi Sakamoto, who I mentioned earlier. These are the creators behind Cultura Skills and our Introduction to Japanese Culture course. So everyone from those uploading the courses to e-learning designers, video editors, DEI consultants. It's been an amazing journey with everyone. And on that note, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here, and we welcome any questions if time permits, or if there are any.
The languages that you're offering, and you've got the Union Jack there, as in the English. Do you do any of these courses relevant to students who might be studying in like America, Australia, Canada? Because even though the language is the same, there's obviously different practices and different, ways of being taught in the education system. So I don't know whether that's I don't know if that's a thing that you might do, or they, where you've got the flag, the Union Jack there. Is that just English across the world, or English as in specific to different English speaking countries?
Thanks for the question, Sherry. So that's very specific to the UK. Our investors in CulturaGo are embedded within international education. So the idea is to go for the next courses we'll be creating will be for various regions of the US, Canada, Australia, France, Germany, and a host of others. Thanks for the question.
I can give you some feedback as well, because I know you sent some. I know you sent a link for us to actually try. I haven't completed the whole course yet, but I am very impressed by. I started the Japanese one, so I've got sort of part way through that one. It is really, really good. I really enjoyed doing it. So, and I'm still going to be completing it soon. But yeah, really, really good. Way it's been created, etc. Really good.
Thanks, Shirley. Really appreciate that feedback. That's great to hear. Great. Well, if there's no other comments or questions, thank you again for joining. Feel free to reach out if you'd like to chat. I think you may have our emails, and we hope to see you at the next one. And have a lovely rest of your week ahead. And thanks for the message coming through.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Sorry, Liam. Sorry, last one. So is this going to be? Was this recorded or? Is this recorded?
Yes, good point, Shirley.
Okay.
It actually has been. Thanks to Stefan for remembering.
Okay.
I certainly wouldn't have remembered. So we'll distribute it to everyone quite soon.
Okay.
Feel free to share it with
That's
your
great.
colleagues or anyone you like.
Brilliant. Okay, that's great. Thanks very much. Thank you. Thanks.
Great. Wonderful. Bye.